Hey guys, Brent Abernathy. Welcome to the Family First Life Gulf Coast Team Training Call on Monday afternoon. Hope everybody's having an awesome dial day so far. Got a special guest with us today, and I'm excited about this call. Got my good buddy Eric Schmidt, who is the owner of Family First Life Northeast and also an integrity partner. Eric has been with us with Family First Life for just under 3 years, and I wanted to have him on. When I think about Eric, there's two things that come to mind to me. Number one is he's a phenomenal salesperson, okay, and sales trainer. But the second thing is just the word worker comes to mind when I think of him. And Eric was a car salesman before he came into our business. And Eric, I want to let you roll with this thing, but I really would love for you to touch on that initial stage when you started with us as a part-time agent. You were still selling cars, and kind of what your schedule looked like and what work meant to you. Because I think we do have agents that, and I was this way when I first started. I thought I was getting after it. I thought I was working, and truth be told, I really wasn't being very efficient with my time and wasn't getting after it as hard as I thought I was. So maybe if you could start and kind of talk about that transition phase and what your schedule looked like and what work meant to you, and then we'll kind of go from there, man.
Awesome. Yeah. And I appreciate you having me on, Brent, and blessed to be able to this helps me, this helps me as much as it helps everybody else. So I appreciate you. And I love the sign over your left shoulder there, work hard and stay humble. So with that, so a little bit less than 3 years. I don't use the word part-time. I use full-time. So I was in the automotive business 23 years. At the end of my automotive career, I was general sales manager of the store, making, a very, good six-figure plus income in Connecticut when you're married for almost 25 years, like Carrie and I've been, and you have a 16, 13 and a 10-year-old, making, $250,000, $300,000 a year is kind of just enough to get you into trouble in Connecticut. Other parts of the country, it might be a little bit different. But here in Connecticut, I was probably one of the 60% of the people that were kind of living paycheck to paycheck, which you're like, well, how's that even possible? Look at the taxes, look at the property tax, look at, what it just costs to live. And a lot of that, was my fault as well. But so when I left, when I was, and I've known Sean a super long time, which doesn't get you any favors, but but I've known Sean a long time. And when I brought myself back into insurance in the end of 18, my goal, and I'm 49 now, I'll be 50 here at the end of the month. My goal was to not only replace my W-2 income, but be able to dictate my own schedule, right? I was never going to work less than 60, 70 hours a week. I just wanted it to be the 60, 70 hours a week that I wanted to work, that was going to work with parent-teacher conferences, birthday parties, basketball, football practice. I coach high school football at a high level, and go to basketball games and, do all the things that, you want to do when you have children that are super active in the community. So when I went full-time, and this was right when I passed my exam. So when I passed my exam in December of 18, that's when I started full time. And I distinctly remember, Brent, I think it was either you or Ryan was having a podcast, and I was listening to you guys. You guys were interviewing a guy that worked in, I think, oil and gas, or maybe worked on an oil thing, or maybe worked in a factory down in Louisiana. And he was talking how he had, it was just another full-time job for him when it came to production, marketing, recruiting, producing, all that stuff. It was just another full-time job. Right. So we all get that same 168 hours a week. I love talking about it because I think, me included, do a really poor job of managing that 168 hours a week that we get. So it's always full-time, whatever it looks like, and you just have to figure it out. And life gets in the way. Significant others have to be on the same page with you, whether that's mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, spouse, children, whoever. I mean, everyone's got to know what it's going to look like. And I was on a call with Jake Conan the other day, which he's an absolute, great business owner, and a very high revenue engine, 20 years younger than me. And the thing that he took from that, and I'll share with you guys, is when he's having conversations, are you ready to go from a W-2 to a 24/7? And I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And I'm using it. I'm always going to give Jake the credit. I don't want any of it, but I love that. And we were talking about schedule and what that looked like. So I probably didn't even answer the question, but that was something that was on my heart and my head. So just, ask me again, Brent.
No, I mean, I love it. You do. You have to treat it like you've got two full-time jobs when you're trying to transition and because if not, you're never going to work your way out of the position you currently have, but when you were doing that, because when you were working two full-time jobs, you were protecting 30 families a month. You were a Hall of Fame producer. So what did your schedule look like during that time?
Okay, yeah. So we'll start on Monday. So my job, my dealership job, I had to be there at 8:30. I had to walk in the door at 8:30. So prior to Family First Life, Brent, I would get there usually like between 7:30 and 7:45. I'd be the good general sales manager, make sure the coffee area was cleaned up, go say hi to the reconditioning team, see what the what the lube oil and filter team was going to be doing, check contracts in transit, go see the office manager, and then by 8:30, get ready for the meeting and start the day. Check with the BDC, making sure that we had the inventory lined up, there was no holes on the lot. And people that are in the car business, all this slang and lingo makes all kinds of sense to them. If you're not in the car business, hopefully you're picking up on some of it. But so I was there 8:30 to 5 on Monday, 8:30 to 8 Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday was my day off. Friday 8:30 to 6. 8:30 to 7, and then Saturday 8:30 to 5, and I worked every other Sunday. Okay, this was at the dealership. It was 45 minutes one way to the dealership.
Got it.
And so what I stopped doing is I stopped giving any free time away to the dealership. Okay. So I still got to the dealership at 7:15, but I would park way back in the back of the lot. And I had this whole system set up in my car with my laptop and my leads and my calendar. And I would start dialing right at 7:29. So 7:29, I would start dialing, and I would dial all the way up to 8:29. And then I would walk in, I hit my desk at 8:30.
Right.
Which was weird, because there was an owner of the dealership and there was people that reported to me, but they're like, hey, what's the, I'm like, well, dude, I got to be here at 8:30. I got other things going on in my life. So I'm here at 8:30. I'm not early. I'm not late. I'm on time. So I used that time, Brent, to book appointments. Okay. For Monday night. Okay. And then I would start booking for Thursday. Okay. So now, when it came to lunchtime, which could be anywhere between 11 and 4 p.m. in that type of retail environment, then I wouldn't sit and eat lunch with my buddies. I would go back to my car and I would dial for an hour. Okay. Right. And I would take full advantage of that. Now, this was pre-phone burner or pre-tele-CRM. So now, I could have probably gotten a lot done. I could have gotten a lot done quicker than, but now you can double that up. So then I took full advantage of my lunch hour at the dealership. Okay. And then it was also very clear that when 5 o'clock struck or 6 o'clock struck or 7 o'clock struck, I was walking. It wasn't like, and again, that took some discipline, right? Because I was in the car business for 23 years. And, if there's an up on the lot, you're not leaving, if there's someone on the lot, because I'm doing the TOs, I'm desking the deals. So that took some discipline to, hey, I'm walking, the building, the way I said, at 5 o'clock, the building's on fire. I got to leave because I already had appointments booked or I had, other things happening. So and I'll get back. So I'm just talking about money making time right now. We'll talk about
Right.
non-money making time in a minute. So money making time is from 7:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. And I use Eastern Standard Time because we can work West or East depending on where you are in our country. So
Right.
7:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern is money making time. And then on Thursday, it was really important for me to try to get a 6 or a 7 a.m. appointment on Thursday. So I would always ask anyone, hey, when do you have your first cup of coffee? 5 a.m. Okay, well, I don't have a 5 a.m., but I do have a 6 or a 6:30. What's better for you? You know, and that did a lot for me because it got my day started with an appointment early, and I knew they were probably, pretty serious about getting some insurance to protect their family, right?
Right.
And then I would boom. So say it was at 6:30, be 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11. I mean, all the way up till I couldn't, so if someone said, I work second shift or I work third shift, I would try to get a 9:30 appointment, 10 p.m. appointment, so I mean, that Thursday was just ridiculously full, but 12, 13 appointments, but I knew I wasn't going to get them all because
Right.
I was going to get to a house that had a family emergency. I was going to get a one-leg situation. I was going to get porch, whatever the situation, or I would have, a no sale or a quick sale or something like that. So I also had door knocks scheduled around all those appointments as well. So Thursday was a crazy day, right? Friday, when I got out of work, I had appointments. Okay. So I didn't go home on Friday night. I went to appointments. Same thing on Saturday. And then on Sunday, if it was a Sunday I was working, which was 11 to 4, then I'd set appointments prior, our first church service here, it was like 7 a.m. So I would get that in and I kind of sneak out after I, said my prayers, and then I would get to my appointment, then I would get to the dealership. And then on Sundays that I wasn't working at the dealership, then I was full time on the Sundays that I wasn't working. And then it would just start over all again on Monday. And then just equally as important, Brent, with the non-money making time, 9 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. Eastern was all this. Was, watching Dominique, watching Jamie and Francofemia, Grady, Paul, Andrew, Mark, just watching, all these people just watching, how I want to talk like they talk. I want to breathe like they breathe. I want to pause when they pause. I want to have that same voice inflection and posture. And then really getting to know the CRM, because in 2019, there was no instant internet leads, there was no internet life leads, there was no Facebook leads on a CRM. So my job was to get up 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and try to find that sweet spot when they dumped in those 1 month, 2 month, 3 month final expense and mortgage mailers, because I didn't have any direct mail, nor could I wait 4, 5, 6 weeks for them to start coming in. Right. So I would buy them all. I'm in a small, teeny state, Connecticut. So I would buy them all in all 8 counties. This was telesale, pre-Zoom, right? Pre-COVID. So I mean, I put 80,000 miles on my car, that first year, just hustling, and so that's what kind of looked like, for my schedule.
Dude, I'm sitting here, and as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, it's so inspiring listening to what you did and how intentionally you were with your time, and how driven to succeed in this business you were. And there wasn't going to be anything that was going to get in your way. You're talking about getting up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning just to make sure you got the leads you needed to get. I mean, that's what it takes sometimes. And it's inspiring. So,
and I did it also with the timeline too, Brent. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
So like I mentioned, I'm going to be 50 at the end of this month, right? So, rewind this thing back to 19. I was going to be 48 at the end of March then. So my goal was to be out of the car business by 48. So I gave my notice on March 15th. I went to convention. Yeah. I passed my exam on December 4th of 18. I went to convention January 31st because it was a January 31st start date for convention, right, which was the last day of the month. For all you retail people out there, you would never not be at the dealership on the last day of the month. Well, I went to Boston, Logan Airport, took the first flight out, and then I landed, 9 a.m. with the time difference in Vegas. I saw Mike Sizer. I threw my bags in the corner, and I just sat my butt down and started taking notes. So, and that's where I got my first lead campaign with EverQuote. That's when they were, that's how I got my first lead campaign with EverQuote. but yeah, I wanted to be out of the car business before I was 48, which was so I gave my notice on March 15th, and my last day was, I think, the 28th or the 30th or whatever. So that was super important to me.
You went and made it happen.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, and we talk about it all the time. Everybody that is with, I mean, this vehicle that we have with Family First Life and going out and helping families through life insurance, everybody has the same opportunity, and it's what they choose to do with it, and you chose to make it happen. That's what I love so much about your story. You chose to make it happen, and it did. So will you do me a favor, because I would be remiss if I had you on and I didn't ask you to do some sort of sales training, because you are such a phenomenal salesperson and trainer. For somebody out there that maybe if you could just give the men and women some tips on maybe some things you did inside the home to close, to whatever it is. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know that you do some things, or you notice some things, you watch people, you pick up on some things inside the homes that could definitely help somebody that's maybe writing 15 or helping 15 families a month get to 30, just like that. I mean, can you maybe give them some tips?
Yeah. So I think you have to be like, and we'll go back a little bit before we get to the house. I think you have to like really spend a lot of time on a CRM. Okay. Mm-hmm. And not only on the CRM, but you have to know the vendors that are available outside the CRM. So you got Plum, you got Lead Co, you got Lead Concepts, you have Mail Pro Direct. You can talk to Jackie directly. You have Adam Pryor at Game Time. You have the Rhymers at Social Insurance. You have the people at Leadrilla. You got Anthony Lawrence at EverQuote. Okay, so like everyone that we work with and we recruit, we get a list, and I have a list, and I can send it out to you that I push out to everyone. Like, hey, and you got to call these people every 3 weeks. Am I on deck? What's available? These people need to know who you are. Okay, so get really, really good at that. Okay. Next thing with the phone. Okay. When you hear Zach Trudowski talk about the book Go for No. So like when he does his dial sessions, he wants he's going to go till he gets 75 no's or 20 yeses. Yeah, either way it's a win for Zach, right? Hey, I got a no, perfect, check. I got a yes, perfect, check. So he goes for 75 no's or 20 yeses. I think when you're looking at your calendar and you have March, which is a 5-week month, 5 times 30 is 150. Right. So are you going to make an intentional decision to have 150 appointments scheduled for the month of March? Now March started, a few days ago.
Right.
But, is it an intentional decision for you to have 150 appointments? And does that mean you might have 40 appointments in 1 week and 25 the next because life is going to get in the way? Yes. Okay. So really pay close attention to your calendar, especially in a 5-week month like March. Right. Next thing is when you're on the phone, do you sound like Matt Smith when you're on the phone? What is your transition? When someone says, hey, you know what, I'm in the shower, do you say, okay, perfect, I'll call you back? Or you say, perfect, that's the purpose of my call, which makes no sense, but that's the purpose of my call. Hey, you know what, I just stubbed my toe. Can you call me back? Perfect. That's actually the purpose of my call. Again, my name is Eric. Again, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter. Okay, we need to get into the home. Are you underwriting? Again, I'm just talking about in-home. Okay, I think, I don't really care who you are. I think you've got to get into at least 15 homes, Brent, before you start making any type of hybrid transition. I mean, I think you just kind of have to see what it's like, with sitting with some of these folks. But, are you using a power dialer, like one of these other programs that are out there, or, you're hand dialing? Either way is fine. Are you using a dial tracker, or are you going into your dial days with expectations? Are you giving them to the person that recruited you, like Brent, say, hey, here's what my dial tracker looks like. This is the lead flow. Do you have alerts set up on all your CRMs for when new leads drop? I mean, so these are like, and again, I'm just scratching the surface, Brent. When you get to the end of your phone call, what kind of tie downs are you doing? Okay. Are you asking them to get a pen, a pencil? Okay. Are you giving them a confirmation code? Are you telling them what you look like? Everyone knows that I'm 6'5" and I don't have a single hair on my head. All right. That gets everyone to giggle, gets everyone to laugh. Okay. I ask people to keep the shotgun behind the door, kind of like Zach Luffles does. I want them to laugh on the phone. I want to know the color of their house, where I park, what door I should go in. If it's going to be dark, I ask them to turn the porch light on. I ask them if there's any big dogs or gates I got to be ready for. I tell them what kind of color car I'm going to be driving. I need them to envision that I'm driving up. Okay. I need to start wide, like Grady Polson talks about. Hey, they, and it's always they. It's never me. It's always they have me out there tomorrow and the next day. What's better for you? Tomorrow, perfect. Before lunch or after lunch, perfect. Let me see. And this is something I've been doing recently too. Hey, right now I have a 10:30 available tomorrow morning or 11:15. What's better for you? And if they hesitate a little bit and they say, I'll take the 10:30. Someone just took the 10:30. So I can either do a 10:45 or I can do a 10:15, but it looks like the 11:15 is still available. Which one works best for you? You have to create that urgency, right?
100%.
Scarcity, that fear of missing out, that FOMO. Okay. So that's phone and pre-phone. Okay, Brent. When you get into the home, again, I like it. Some people that I work with like it, but you can go to YouTube and type in Eric Schmidt in-home, and you can see, some of my in-home training on there. I'm a big fan of not unpacking. I'm not moving in. Okay, when I get there to the house, I'm respectful, shoes on, shoes off, lean in. Acknowledge. I like to acknowledge that I want them to know that I know that they have the ability to spend money. Okay. What do I mean by that? If the kind of car they're driving, what their lawn looks like, what their TV looks like. If they still have, I've been in houses where they still have the tags on the couches, right? Or they have 20 pairs of Nike sneakers, or they have nicely done nails. I'm going to let them know that I see that, Brent. So I know that they have the ability to spend money. Wow, that's a nice stove. That's a beautiful TV. I'm going to get a TV like that. Who makes that? Where'd you get it from? Okay. You don't hear a lot of people talking about that,
No.
Brent, but I like to know that they know that I know that they can spend money and they have the ability to spend money, right? So if it comes down to money, then I can talk about, well, where does this fall in your priorities? Like Luke Bohach always talks about, right? One thing more on Luke Bohach. At the end of my phone calls. So at the very end, hey, Brent, one more question before I let you go. Are you good at keeping the appointments that you set?
Yeah.
Good. We are too. See you tomorrow between 6 and 7. Click. Okay. So I always use it at the very, very end. So in the in-home, I want them to know that I know that they have the ability to spend money. When I get to the table, I want to be able to see both at the same time. I don't want one to be on one side of the table, one to be, because then I'm going to be like this. I get motion sickness, and I'm going to get dizzy, and it's like a tennis match. So I got to be able to see both people at the same time. I don't take out my laptop. I don't take out my Surface, my iPad. All I have is the lead sheet. That's all I have. A lead sheet and a pen. That's it. And so once I, build a little bit of, and when I say a little bit of rapport, like 30, 60, 90 seconds,
Right.
You're going to build most of your rapport during the application process. And I'll just say, hey, tell me a little bit about why you're here, why I'm here, so I know how best to serve you. And they're going to tell me, and then we're just going to start peeling back that onion, peeling it back, peeling it back, peeling it back. And I think a lot of people cut it too early. So like if you tell me, Brent, that your beneficiary or the person that's going to be picking up the pieces, or the person that's going to recognize that you didn't call them, or you didn't check in on Facebook, like something's off, like where's Brent? He's not around today. That person, what is your death? How is your death going to affect their life? Not even financially, but how's your death going to affect their life? So say you're 75, okay, and your beneficiary is your daughter who's 30, okay, and you live in Fort Walton or wherever you're at, and your daughter lives in Detroit, okay.
Right.
I'm gonna say, okay, what's your daughter's name? It's Sally Sue, okay, and what's her last name? Perfect. And how old is she? What does she do for work? Oh, she's a nurse. Perfect. Is she single, married, widowed, or divorced? Well, she's divorced. Wow. Does she have any children? Yeah, 2 kids. How old are the kids? 6 and 8. Okay. And does she have full custody? And what does this have to do with anything? It has to do with everything. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, does she have full custody of the kids? Yes. Okay. So you don't wake up tomorrow. She's going to find out. And what does she do for work? She's a nurse. Okay. Wow. Nursing, really tough profession right now. I'm sure she's doing a ton of hours. does she have a lot of time saved up as far as being able to take time off so she can come down and handle all of your affairs? And does, your children are in fifth grade and her children are fifth grade or third grade. Is she going to have to take them out of school? Will they do virtual learning while they're out of school? Will she drive or fly? And all of a sudden, so you build up this case, for lack of a better words, Brent, okay? By the time, and again, there's nothing out. All there is a lead sheet. Okay?
Yep.
And when you have all this information, and now all of a sudden she's like, and does she know, let's say that Brent doesn't have any coverage. Okay. Does Sally know that, when you pass away, that she's financially responsible, not only for all this other stuff, but for your cremation, burial, funeral? No, she doesn't know. Okay. Does she think that you have, some type of policy? I don't know what she thinks. Okay. And does she know where you keep all your important paperwork? Is it in a shoebox at the bottom of your closet? That's where a lot of people are, under your bed. Yeah. How did you know? Well, that's where most people keep a lot of their important stuff. The people that are born in the 30s, 40s, 50s, that's where they keep their stuff, Brent.
Yeah.
So when she opens that box, do you think she's expecting to see a policy? Yeah, probably. I'm like, well, what's she going to find? And then I shut up, so those are just a few tips, pre-qualification, anything like that.
Right.
We can go deeper into the in-home if you want.
Dude, that is phenomenal. It's all the visualization, all the and also, like you said, you're digging deep. You're not cutting the onion too soon. It's we got to find out about the people, and that's how you build value too. Not only does that show that we actually care about helping them, right? Asking all those questions, but it also gives us the ammunition to build that value and that urgency, and well, man, I know we're kind of, I appreciate you taking time today, and I don't want to go too much longer because I know you got stuff to do as well. But if you do have any other little tips, I know you said that was just kind of right at the start, the pre-qualifying, whatever. You got any other little tips that you can help somebody with inside the home?
Yeah. So, I love Americo. Americo loves me. I love getting that You First bonus twice a year. You get that in the summertime, you get that pre-holidays and in the wintertime. I start everything with Americo. Obviously, if they're in a wheelchair, if they're, on full-time oxygen, if they, if there's HIV, if there's, real COPD, just because someone says they have COPD, what I found is a lot of doctors make their patients nervous.
Yep.
So if someone says, if you ask them if they have chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, but they don't tell you the inhalers, they probably don't have COPD. I've had people that think they have COPD get approved for Americo because they don't have Spiriva, albuterol, all these other different inhalers. So, I always am going to put someone through Americo for the pre-qualification. Now with the new e-app and the texting capability, obviously that's made it a lot easier. A lot of people don't even know this, but on the new Americo e-app, there's only one COVID question. On the old Americo e-app, which we can still use, there's 3 COVID questions. So, you are going to get through it quicker. If I get a yellow dot on Ascendo, I'm going to try to get a real approval. I think, we have to have, I think you really need to have 10 families protected and served and approved on a policy on a weekly basis.
Yep.
Not IUL, not FIA, not yellow dot, not mutual when they're thinking about it. I think we need to have, so whether that's Prosperity, or one of our other great carriers, I think we need to have 10 families served that are approved e-apps, completed, done. So, you could have 15, but those are going to be some yellow dots, and those are going to be some things, some IULs or some, NLGs or some other stuff like that.
Right.
With Americo, I always start everyone at a $30,000 death benefit. I'm like, you're qualified up to, okay. And based on what you shared with me, I wouldn't suggest that you get less than 12.5. So that's always where I start, with a top and a bottom. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to find something that works for their today budget. I'll choose another number in the middle, for option B or the silver package, whatever way you want to do it. And then I always, whatever they choose, I try to downgrade them from there. right? So if they go with the 12.5, which is $129 a month, I'm like, all right, just so we're on the same page, Brent, this is every month. Okay. This really needs just to disappear in your budget, kind of like your Netflix account. Or, any of these other things that we get whacked for every single month. So I'll say, a lot of my clients that go with the 129 package feel that the $99 a month at $9,800 death benefit makes a little bit more sense for their today budget. Are you kind of like them? Does that make more sense for your today budget? I'll always bring them down.
Right.
A package that does a lot for credibility for me. It knows that I'm not there with commission breath, just trying to whack them over the head in the beginning, which I did have problems with coming out of the car business. It was very transactional for me, Brent, in the beginning. Because you guys know, you go on the car lot, how low can I buy their trade? How high can I sell their, how high can I get their payment? And then they go into the finance office and we want to sell them gap and paint wheels and, key protection and all this other stuff, extended service contracts. But in this, it's the exact opposite. Okay. So make it all about that family, making sure it's affordable. If you drive to work tomorrow, if you go out to work and you get 2 flat tires on the way home, on the way to work, and when you get home, your refrigerator broken, this can't be the first thing that you're canceling. You know what I'm saying? So, I always like to talk about priorities, right? You need a roof over your head and need food, but then what? Like, is life insurance next, or is your cell phone next? Like, where does this fall in your priorities? And this is an R&D business. I mean, I rip off and duplicate everything that I've shared, Brent. But talking about that priorities, right? Where does this fall in your priorities? You hear Sean talk about it all the time. There's no one that we sit with that filled out a form that can't afford the products that they're interested in, right? One of the other things on the phone, and again, I can, we can cut this whenever you want, Brent, but one thing on the phone, I like to flush out the fact that it's not free on the phone. So if I'm talking to you on the phone and I'm doing some tie downs, hey, Brent, you may qualify for a couple discounts. Who do you do your banking with? Is it one of the big banks like Bank of America or a local credit union?
Yeah, it's one of the big banks. Bank of America.
Perfect. Is it Bank of America? Perfect. You actually qualify for the discount. There's another discount that you may qualify for. Are you a smoker or a non-smoker?
I'm a non-smoker.
Non-smoker. Perfect. You'll actually qualify for the discount. Okay. So it doesn't matter what Brent said there, guys. He's always going to qualify. If it's a local credit union, if it's cash, if it's the Direct Express card, he qualifies for the discount. What it tells me is how he's going to be paying for this. All right. And if I had to be prepared with, a Transamerica or Prosperity, if I had to start thinking about a Chime Bank pivot or a Capital One 360 account pivot. But the biggest thing, things that are discounted aren't free. Okay. So if I say, hey, you may qualify for a discount, and Brent says, hey, I thought this was free. Perfect. That's actually the purpose of my call. Let me explain to you how this works and what is free and what's not free. Okay. But I can flush it out then. And if they're a smoker and they say, I'm a smoker, perfect. You actually qualify for discount because we have the quit smoking advantage. And then we have a lot of other options as well.
Dude, it's phenomenal stuff. I love it. Golly. It's so intentional, man. That's the biggest thing that comes to my mind as I'm hearing you talk. Is I'm just everything you do and say is so intentional. And man, I might have to have you back on again to really dig down even some more. I hope all the men and women have been taking notes, man. And again, I know you're busy, and I appreciate you taking time away from your day. And dude, what you've done in such a short amount of time, going from full-time to full-time, a new business that you didn't know. And within less than 3 years, growing an agency, helping a lot of families, becoming an integrity partner. It is inspiring to everybody, new agents that have been around for a while. And I appreciate you raising the bar for a lot of the agents that are out there and showing them what can be done. And I'm just excited for you, man. I know it's a big time for you and you and your family right now. And I appreciate you taking the time today to help us out. All right, man.
Perfect. And I think the last thing I'll leave you with is I would encourage everyone to take a look at their social media. Okay. Take a look at your LinkedIn. Take a look. Do you have that hiring halo around your LinkedIn? If that's something that works inside your agency. What does it say on your LinkedIn page? Go to your Instagram. Okay. Go to your Facebook page. You book an appointment. A lot of people say, okay, I'm hanging up with you, and now I'm going to go Facebook Brent Abernathy. Okay. Right. So, take a look at your social media. What does your social media say about you? Because, like Dave Anderson, the way you do everything, everything matters. Everything matters, so be intentional.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, listen, I appreciate you. And hopefully here over the next month or two, we get a chance to see each other around the country at some of these Road to Hall of Fame meetings and Road to Integrity meetings and stuff. So appreciate you taking time, man. If there's anything I can ever do, don't ever hesitate to reach out. I'll do whatever I can to help you in the Northeast group. All right, my man.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you.
All right, Eric. Take it easy, bud.
Later, bro.
All right.